grave. And so when the Rebbe passed away, it was obvious that he should be laid to rest next to his father-in-law. So you should understand, when you go into the oil, it's not just where the Rebbe's resting place is, but it's a place where the Rebbe spent hundreds, thousands of hours during his lifetime praying. And you'll see both of the monuments, both markers next to each other. So this story took place in 1950 after the Rebbe's father-in-law passed away. And the story's like this. There was a Jew from a town called Montreal, Quebec. You ever heard of it?
A little bit.
Okay. And his name was Rabbi Fagelstock.
Oh, yeah.
He was originally from Vienna, but he was living in Montreal. Okay. And he came to New York, and he wanted to go to the oil. He wanted to go to the... Now, this time it was just the previous Rebbe was buried there. This is 1950. But he had a little bit of a halachic dilemma, which is he had to go back to Montreal, and the only time he could go to the cemetery would be Chol Hamoed, the intermediate days of the festival. And not a lot of people know this, but it is Jewish custom and law that we do not go to a cemetery during the intermediate days of the festival. But that was the only day that he could go because he had to travel. So he had this dilemma. So who did he ask? He asked the Rebbe. He said, I want to go to your father-in-law's resting place, but the only day I can go is the intermediate days. And if I don't go, then I have to travel back, and I'm not going to be able to go to the oil on this trip. So I don't know what I should do. And maybe there's some leniency because I have no other time to go. This is what he asked the Rebbe. So the Rebbe told him, he said, if you are asking me whether you can visit a grave on the intermediate days of the festival, you already know the answer. However, if what you're asking me is that you would like to have yechidus, you know that word?
No.
Yechidus is a Hebrew word. Comes the word from the word yachad, which means together, or yachid, which means unity. Yechidus is literally unification, but it's the name that we use for a one-on-one audience with a Rebbe. It's a special name for a meeting between a Rebbe and a chassid. So when people would meet with the Rebbe in the Rebbe's room, it was called Yechidus. So the Rebbe says to Rabbi Fagelstock, he says, if you're asking me if you're able to visit a grave on Chol Hamoed, I'm afraid you know the answer. We don't do that on Chol Hamoed. We don't do that on the intermediate days of the festival. However, if what you're asking me is you would like to have yechidus with my father-in-law, just like you did right here. What is right here? They were standing in 770 in Brooklyn, Crown Heights. And the only difference is that it will take place a few blocks away, meaning at the aisle. Then by all means, Chol Hamoed or any time is a good time to have a yechidus with the Rebbe.
Oh, wow.
So I like to tell that story because, first of all, it gives options. I like to give people options. So people come to the aisle, I'll tell them, listen, you want to know what we're doing at the aisle? I mean, it's a time-honored Jewish tradition to visit the grave sites of the righteous. It goes back as far as the Bible itself, in the Torah itself. We just had a few weeks ago, Parshas Shlach. Moshe Rabbeinu sent the spies. One of the spies was Kalev. Since he went to Hebron, he went specifically to the burial place of the patriarchs and the matriarchs to pray. So we have, going back to Torah itself, to Chumash, we have this concept of praying at the grave sites of the righteous, and that it's a potent place to pray. I'm sure you probably know what the most visited holy site in Judaism is, yeah? More specifically.
The wall.
The wall, okay. Everyone knows that. What's number two? Number-wise, the most visited in volume, number of people per year. What? It might be coming close now, but no, in Israel. The number two. Good guess. No, it's in the top 10, but no. Very good guess.
It's next to my...
Yes.
Yeah, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yochai.
Yes, very good. I was actually surprised when I learned that. But after the Kotel, the number 2 most visitors, I'm saying by number of visitors, is Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai in Meron, which is a gravesite. You know what number 3 is? 4 is Rachel, is Kever Rachel, base left. So of the top 4, 3 out of the 4, other than the Kaisel, they're all graves. They're all Kvarim, they're all Kivrei Tzadikim. My point is that visiting the resting place of a righteous man or woman is like basic Judaism, and we all know it, we all do it. And it's like, you understand, when you go to, let's say you go to the wall, you don't pray to the wall, you pray at the wall. You go to the grave of a righteous person, not praying to the righteous person, God forbid, you're praying at that spot, because it's Zeh Shara Shamayim. You guys are probably too young to remember, but remember once upon a time there was local calls in long distance? You guys remember that? Okay. The young kids don't know anything. To them, there's no such thing as area codes. But so we call it like a local call. When you're at the gravesite of a righteous person, then your prayers go up to heaven like a local call. Okay. The young people don't know what it's like waiting until after 11 o'clock to call someone. To talk really fast. I gotta talk fast. Too long distance call. Okay, it's going on too long. Write me a letter. They don't know what it's like. But okay. So that's option number 1. And it's not Cholamite, it's not the intermediate days of the festival. So if you want to go to a gravesite of a righteous person and pray there, we have one a block away, and it's a very powerful place to stand and to pray. Say some Tehillim, pray. So that's option number 1. And I like to give options. Option number 2 is, what was option number 2 in the story?
Yechidus, what's it called?
Yechidus, yes. Yeah. Yes, very good. You said it perfectly. Guys, get real. You can have a Yechidus at a grave?
How can it be?
What?
How can it be?
How can it be? Now, you can say for the Rebbe did do it. I'll tell you, with the Rebbe, people would ask, before the Rebbe even accepted being Rebbe, people would ask the Rebbe questions, and he would say, I'm going to the oil tomorrow, and I'll find out. And he would come back and say, my father-in-law said. And the Rebbe had a brother-in-law, they were married to 2 sisters, both the daughters of the Frierdiker Rebbe, of the previous Rebbe, and it was like a question for a year, which one is going to be the successor? And they told the Rebbe's brother-in-law, they said, your brother-in-law said, he went to the oil and he asked your father-in-law, and he came back and he gave us an answer. And his brother-in-law said, listen, I know one thing about my brother-in-law. He's not a liar. If he says he goes to my father-in-law's grave and he asks him questions and gets answers, he literally means it, right? He says, and I can't do that. I'm not going to pretend I cannot do that. Right?
Wow.
So that we know that Rebbe was able to go to the oil and have conversations.
Yeah.
But that's not what the story is. The story is that Rebbe told a chassid that you'll go to the oil if you want, and he gave him the option as well. If you want to go as Yechidus, you can have Yechidus. What do you make of that?
Because the minute you go there
Yeah.
and you feel connected, you already do Yechidut with the rabbi or with his soul. So it's not that you need to make an appointment or the minute you are there and you pray, you're biyachad with him. So
Yeah.
you make your own Yechidut.
That's, I think, what the Rebbe meant. But can I tell you something? It's a very hard concept for people. And it was always a hard concept for people. And I want to tell you, that Jewish people sometimes complain, right?
Sometimes it's good.
The waiter at the restaurant, he came to the 2 Jewish women, he said, ladies, is anything okay? Right. When the Rebbe would give dollars, the Rebbe would stand and give dollars to anyone who wanted to meet the Rebbe and have that moment of eye contact and get the dollar from the Rebbe, and the blessing. The people complained?
Not enough time.
What did they complain? Not enough time. Now, who were these people?
Not enough money.
These were the people. No,
Probably did the same thing.
These were the people who complained because they remember the good old days when Yechidus was you schedule an appointment, and maybe you have to wait a few months, but you would go into the Rebbe's room. The Rebbe would have, usually twice a week, where he would have people come into his room, and maybe you'd have to wait till 3 or 4 in the morning, but you would go in, and you have your FaceTime, you'd have your one-on-one, and then it would read your note, and you could ask questions and have a conversation. And then there were so many people that Rebbe said, I still want to see, everyone wants to see me, but we'll have to do the dollars system where people would line up and they would maybe wait for hours and they would have 2 seconds. And people, of course, people complain.
Whose idea was with this?
The Rebbe's idea.
The Rebbe?
The Rebbe's idea.
Genius.
Yeah, it wasn't the Chassidim. The Chassidim complained. I mean, not everyone complained, but there were definitely complainers. But I only tell you that to bring out a point. That obviously the Rebbe's definition of Yechidus is different than ours. Because we think that it means you have to have a whole conversation, a whole back and forth. But from the Rebbe's perspective, it can happen in a second. And it's not really so much about what you see, it's about being seen. It's about the Rebbe looking at you and seeing you as you really are. And that's a soul thing. That's a spiritual thing. When the Rebbe was able to look at people and immediately recognize them, even if he hadn't seen them in 20 years, 40 years, 50 years. It was a soul connection. It wasn't a normal thing. And so, even after the Rebbe's passing, that continues. That you stand in the presence of the Rebbe, and it's a soul-to-soul connection, a soul looking at a soul. Now, for people like us on our level, do we see anything? Probably not. You go into the aisle and you see 2 gravestones and you see torn up papers that people left there. That's probably what you're going to see. But there's a concept of being seen. There's a concept of standing in front of the tzaddik and presenting yourself. And that is no different today than it ever was. And in fact, you might even say even more because any physical impediment from the Rebbe's side is removed. Yeah.
Why do you tell the people?
There's a lot of different made-up reasons. You want me to make one up for you?
What did she ask? What do you want?
What?
What's the question?
Why do you tear up the papers?
Because
So
usually they have
they would,
the
I never saw a real official reason, but there's a lot of guesses. My favorite one is that it's private. It doesn't go anywhere.
I like that.
Yeah.
Which means the things that you lie to your therapist about because you're embarrassed, you just write it on the paper to the Rebbe.
Because Leavdil, but in the cotton you fold it and you put it in the thing and then you
Yeah,
take it
I
out
know.
with the ginza.
Yeah,
So
well, I guess
you
but you know at the Kaisel, the Nudniks come and you read the letters.
No, I know.
Don't be scared, but it's true. I've seen
Oh.
the Nudniks come, they're like, oh, very interesting. Yeah. Over here, no one's gonna read it. You tear it up.
But if you don't tear it and you take the thing,
What?
so it's fine. Eh?
But if you don't tear it,
Yeah. And you
well,
take
that's
the-
our custom, is we tear it.
The
So.
Rebbe tore it.
What?
The Rebbe tore
Rebbe
it.
tore it, yeah, of course. That's so where you get all the customs from is not that Rebbe did
The
it.
Rebbe toward people's letters?
The Rebbe
Yeah.
tore people's
Oh, he tore
letters.
people's
You
letters
can
out.
see
Yeah,
the
and his
video.
own. The Rebbe would bring his own letter.
And he tore it out.
Yeah.
But where did he put it? Like in-
Right there at the previous Rebbe's
Oh, he
grave.
would write his own letters.
That's what I'm telling you. The Rebbe spent. There's only one other place other than 770 and his home on President Street that the Rebbe spent significant time. It was here. And by the way, even in his advanced age, the Rebbe would come in. The Rebbe would stand the whole time. The Rebbe would fast, by the way. The Rebbe would not eat when he would go to the aisle. And he would take all the letters people wrote to him and he would stand, he would read them all.
Oh my goodness.
Cry, and you could see videos of the Rebbe standing crying. The Rebbe brought his own letters. The Rebbe also wrote. The Rebbe was also a chassid. He also brought his letters to his Rebbe. And in fact, when the Rebbe was getting older, I think when the Rebbe was turning 70, a group of chassidim came to him and implored him to stop doing it so much because it was taking a toll. I mean, the Rebbe would fast the whole day and then be out all day, standing on his feet all day, and then he would get back at night. And they didn't want the Rebbe to do this anymore. He was getting older, and he told them that you're asking me not to do this. You're asking me not to go to the oil because you're afraid of losing me because you want to have a Rebbe. But I also need to have a Rebbe, and therefore I have to go to the oil. So everything that we know about the importance of going to the oil, we know it from how the Rebbe conducted himself. It's not a guess. It's not like what people think. They're like, oh, the Lubavitcher started to miss the Rebbe, so they started running to the grave. We saw the Rebbe do this for decades. And anytime something was serious that was going on, that was affecting the Jewish nation, so the Rebbe would go even more often and spend even longer hours there. And every letter that people wrote to the Rebbe would respond, Askar Alitzin, I will mention it at the gravesite. So this whole thing about the power of going to the oil, we get that from the Rebbe, from how the Rebbe conducted himself. And the way that the Rebbe spoke about it. The Rebbe spoke about it very, very openly, very clearly. So one thing, I told you, the Rebbe said you have an option to go there as Yechidus. Like you're standing in the Rebbe's presence and the Rebbe sees you. Another thing the Rebbe said to people about going to the oil is he said, you go to the oil, you write your letter, you tear it up, and the Rebbe specifically says, you'll tear it up, you leave it there, and the Rebbe that can fit in weg the other way to answer it. The Rebbe, meaning the previous Rebbe, will find a way how to answer you. He'll find a way how to answer you. What does that mean? Different people have different theories what it means. I personally think the less you try to force it, the better. The Rebbe will find a way how to answer. You don't have to find a way for the Rebbe to answer. The Rebbe will find. So some people come out. I mean, last week I had the mayor of New York come. I brought him to the aisle, and then when we came out, there's a video playing all the time of the Rebbe. So as we came out, out of all the thousands of hours of clips that it could be, it was Giuliani coming to the Rebbe. So it was pretty funny. But
Imagine. Were you here when Trump came? Before the
no, I
election?
was. I mean, I was probably here because I'm here every day, but I wasn't part of that visit. My point is that sometimes people see their answer very clearly right when they come out. Sometimes, you know, it's a few days later, you'll just revisit something that was confusing and you'll suddenly realize that you have clarity. You don't really know why. It's not like you have new information, but somehow, you know, your head is more clear. But the point is, the Rebbe said, this is how we do it. We're not guessing. We didn't make this up. Again, that's what I'm telling you. The Rebbe told people, you go to the oil, you write your letter, you tear it up, you leave it there, and the Rebbe will find a way how to answer you. What else can I tell you? The most important thing is to bring good news. All of you are working on your spiritual growth. How do I know? Because you're here. And that itself is a testimony to the fact that you're trying to grow. If I were reporting good news, one of the things I would say in my letter, I would say, I made it. You know, it wasn't an easy trip. There were some setbacks, but I'm here. That's the first thing good I would report. Anything that you've done recently, taking on a mitzvah, committing to a class maybe that you're attending, anything good, but also just the fact that you're here. Reporting good news is very important. The Rebbe said the more you report good news, the more good news you'll have to report.
Amen.
Another thing is resolutions. The thing that you're afraid to do because you think that it's too hard, it is too hard. But guess what? When you're standing in the presence of a tzaddik who sees who you really are, who sees your neshama, which is infinite, and that infinite power comes out, then it's not too hard. So that big next spiritual stretch that you have been putting off making, you stand in the presence of someone who sees your potential, and you have an opportunity to maybe start to see yourself from those eyes. So that's a great opportunity to take on the next big thing. So that's the second thing. So I would report good news, good stuff that you've already done. I would report good stuff that you want to do, that you're taking without a vow. Bli neder. Obviously, everything was without a vow. It's important, but you know that you intend to take that. Also, the third category of things I would write is requests for blessings. Why requests for blessings? Because if you're showing up and you're saying you're ready to get an answer, you're ready to be shown what you need to be doing, and you're earnestly ready to be shown what you need to be doing, and you're ready to sincerely accept it. If there's some mitzvah, there's some good act that you could be doing, and it becomes clear to you that that's something to do, and you're ready to do it, basically what's happening is, it's like you're reporting for duty. You're saying, I'm ready to work. Well, if you work for a company, you get a company credit card. So when you ask for blessings, it's not selfish. When you're asking for blessings, what you're saying is, I'm here to work. I'm here to do whatever it is that my soul's mission is. And I believe that a Rebbe is a person who knows my soul's mission. I mean, what is a Rebbe? Someone who knows a lot of Torah? Yeah, he does, but that's not what makes him a Rebbe. A Rebbe is someone who knows people, and he knows what their mission is, and he can communicate to you your mission. So when you're ready to show up and say, I'm ready to do my mission, now you're ready to work. If you're working, you get a company credit card. And that means if there are certain blessings you need in your life, health and finances and family stuff or whatever it is, or for loved ones, and getting those things taken care of and out of, just out of the way would just allow you to focus on your mission, then by all means you ask for those blessings.
Should we ask for family first and then us, or us and family?
That's a good question. You're saying if you're asking for blessings, should you ask for other people first? Probably strategically it seems more like selfless to do it, but you can't play games.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I would just be totally real. Honestly, I would just be totally real. Like I said before, I wasn't being funny when I said these things that you lie to your therapist about, you tell the truth over here. I'll tell you a cute story. Cute story, but a profound story. I had a teacher in yeshiva who, when he was bar mitzvah boy, he had yichidus with the Rebbe, because this was in the old days when Lubavitch was much smaller. Every bar mitzvah boy had yichidus. So he asked his teacher, when I go into yichidus, how should I conduct myself? So his teacher says to him, forget it, I'll take your spot. You guys got to know the old Russian style. You guys know the old Russian style? Very acerbic. You guys don't know Lubavitch is Russian? Russian culture? Bark at everybody? Oh, you get the Chabad house treatment. Okay. So the real Lubavitcher cultural milieu is like the cranky Russian style. So yeah. And so the kid asks the teacher, when I go into the Rebbe, how do I conduct myself? He's like, forget it, I'll take your spot. He's like, no. I'm just asking a question. When I go into the Rebbe, how do I conduct myself? He's like, yeah, I'll take your spot. So the kid realizes that he's saying something wrong, but he doesn't know what he's saying wrong. So he tells the teacher, just tell me, what am I saying wrong? So the teacher says like this world, what does he mean this world? The physical world. The embodiment plane, where the soul is in a body, is a false world. What does it mean it's a false world? It doesn't mean it's an illusion. It's real. God created it. But what it means is there's a lot of deception here where primarily is you see creation instead of creator. That's the biggest deception. You don't see that there's a God. It looks like it's existing on its own. But the biggest deception about this physical world is that you don't see people as they truly are. And to the extent that we don't see ourselves as we truly are. We don't see our souls. We identify with the container and all of its limitations. We don't really realize the light that's inside. So the teacher says to the student, this is a false world. Everyone's like divorced from their true selves. And in the false world, there's one little place, he called it Daled Amish Shel Emes, 4 cubits of truth. One little place of truth. And meaning a place where you are the real you. And in the place of truth, you're asking me that I should tell you how you should behave. So I said, I'll take your spot. Let's cut out the middleman. You're going to go in there and act like me. Why go in there and act like me? I'll go in there. I'll be me. It's a cute story, but it's super profound. You get the punchline? You get what it's saying?
It's the Torat Amarot. It's the reflection, like it's the mirror.
למדתי את זה היום.
היום למדת את זה.
Everybody's playing a role.
Yes.
Even with yourself, you're playing a role. And there's one place where you are the real you. And why is in front of the Rebbe? And why is standing in front of the Rebbe the one place where you are the real you? Because the Rebbe sees your soul. And your soul is the real you. So all these beliefs we have about ourselves, these limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves, which are not really the real you. You stand in front of a tzaddik who sees the real you, you become liberated from those false beliefs or that false self-concept. And what does that mean in a practical sense? In a practical sense, what that means is the stuff that you're afraid of, the stuff that you think you can't do, the things you've been telling yourself, it's too hard, it's too big, it's beyond, all that, the excuses fall away, and you realize you can do anything. Like literally anything. There's no limits. You're a soul, you're infinite, you can do anything. Yeah.
Why do we have to come with plastic shoes and not leather?
You don't. You can do whatever you want.
No, I'm asking.
No, but I'm being
Because
sincere. You don't
I
have.
know that.
Somebody yelled at me. They told me that I made a chilul Hashem. You know that? I was in the bank the other day, and a guy yelled at me that I made a chilul Hashem.
Why?
I'll tell you why. He says, you made the mayor put on Crocs? That was a chilul Hashem. It bothered me because I don't always get yelled at while I'm standing in line to the bank, but I don't think I did the wrong thing. I think he did the right thing. I brought the mayor of New York City here, and I told him the custom. He didn't have to do it. He's a big boy. He could have said no. Why do we do it? I'll tell you what I told the mayor, and this is the truth. When Moshe Rabbeinu was at the burning bush, Hashem told him, remove your shoes because you're standing on holy ground. So you're standing on holy ground. But I'll tell you something deeper. You want to hear something deeper? Are you ready for it? You bored? You tired? You have threshold to hear something
It's
deep?
like people wear
Okay.
leather shoes.
Okay. How does Yom Kippur work? Well, first of all, what happens on Yom Kippur? What's
Well, we're trying to be as holy as possible.
You don't have to do nothing on Yom Kippur. That's how it works. It works. You show up for it. Hashem cleanses us. How does Hashem cleanse us? There are 5 prayers on that day. We only pray 3 times a day. Shabbos and Yom Tov 4 times a day. Yom Kippur is the only time we do 5 times a day. 5 soul levels. Nefesh is the soul level that's related to action. Ruach is soul level is higher, is related to emotion. Neshama is the soul level related to the intellect, which is even higher. Then there's Chaya, which is related to like your spirituality. And then Yechida, which is the core of the soul. What is the core of the soul? The core of the soul means it's one with God at all times. To the extent that even when lower levels of the soul are being dragged along with the body, when the body is sinning, the Yechida, it's called the Yechida, the core of the soul, is impervious to sin. It can never become defiled because it's always one with God, no matter what. And in Kippur, you get back in touch with that place within you which never was affected by sin. And then everything falls away. All the sin falls away. That's how Yom Kippur works. So it's interesting to know, what is that core of the soul called? Yechida. Yechida means the core of the soul. Literally one with God. I told you before, a meeting with the Rebbe is called Yechidus. Same word. Because when you go into Yechidus, what part of you is really being exposed? The same part on Yom Kippur. In fact, in a certain way, it is a Yom Kippur. It's a personal Yom Kippur when you go into Yechidus. Meaning to say, that part of you that is wholesome and good and cannot be defiled. Cannot be defiled. Nothing you ever did can ruin it because it's transcends all of that. That's what's coming out when you stand in front of a tzaddik. And what you hope is that when you leave from that, you'll translate some of that new self-awareness into your day, meaning the way you behave and the decisions that you make. So that's also the reason we remove the shoes. It's like a Yom Kippur type of situation. When you write your letter, you write your soul's name. Your soul's name is your Hebrew name, Bas, meaning the daughter of your mother's Hebrew name. That's your soul's name. No matter what they call you, on the street, but your soul's name is your Hebrew name, Bas, your mother's Hebrew name. And like I said, you write good news. I would definitely include you made it to this trip. It's a big deal. And I would actually be happy that you had such trouble getting here. By the way, I went to, in the old days when Chassidim would like go to Lubavitch. Most of the Lubavitchers did not live in Lubavitch. They lived all over. And they would go to Lubavitch. So there were no cars, as I'm talking about in the old days. So they would take a horse and wagon. A lot of Chassidim, they would not want to take the wagon. Specifically, they would want to walk. They wanted to have that, they want to show up with blisters on their feet because they wanted, it has to be real. There has to be a little sacrifice here. So the fact that it's harder to get here, that's part of the experience. It really is. It's part of it being a real experience. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just walking to the end of the block. There's some real toil involved, but that makes it more of a real experience.
Do we also write Dinu Mishpat if you're married?
Sure, yeah.
What did she say? What? Leilu Nishmat, like in his marriage?
Yeah, yes, that's a very thoughtful thing to do. But what, the question is, what are you dedicating? Because that goes back to my...
No, but it just goes back to like when we always like light a candle for like any,
Yeah, we do
any
light a
saint
candle, that's
that,
true.
it's their
But-
yard side, we say in your marriage.
But I'm saying
that
it
this and this and
costs to go to the Rebbe. It costs.
What do you mean it's
this.
cost?
So
I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you a story. It's not going to make any sense to you. And then I'm going to unpack it. There are 3-4 cultural layers on top of this story before it's accessible. But I'll tell you the story anyway. In Lubavitch, the town of Lubavitch, the Rebbe at a shop, the 5th Chabad Rebbe, was sitting in his study and he was learning Torah. And the attendant brought him a meal. And left it on the windowsill. And the Rebbe Rashab wasn't very interested in eating, he just wanted to learn. He maybe took like a piece of it, and then he left it on the windowsill that the attendant should come take away the plate. Now, there were 2 Polish Bachrim, 2 yeshiva boys from Polish Jewish Hasidic community. Lubavitch is Russian. You guys didn't even know that. I told you the Lubavitch is Russian, Serbic, nasty people. You guys didn't even know about that. You thought it's all the friendly Chabad house smiles. You gotta take them to 7-7, you get pushed. You gotta get pushed. You gotta have real experience. Have to experience in the trenches. At any rate, so the Polish Hasidic style is very different than the Russian Hasidic style. Going back to you know who the first Rebbe of Chabad was, yeah? The Alter Rebbe wrote what book? What book did the Alter Rebbe write? First Rebbe of Chabad? Tanya. Very good. Okay. And going back to that first generation, the Alter Rebbe had a different style than the other Hasidic schools. There are many differences. It's not a time to get into all of the differences. One of the differences, though, is they had the Polish style. They had a custom. They still have this custom that when they'll have like a gathering, they call it a tish. Tish literally means a table. The Rebbe will sit at the table. They'll serve like a giant kugel sometimes, like a giant, like ridiculously this big. The Rebbe will take a piece of it, will eat one piece. Then have something called shirayim. Shirayim literally means leftovers. And once the Rebbe will take a piece and eat from it, then all the others dive in, they all eat a piece from it. And it's considered that if you eat from the leftovers of the food that the holy person ate from, now you get some like secondary holiness.
But
Understand?
That's applicable to all the groups.
What?
This is applicable to all the Hasidic.
Yeah, except Chabad. Except Chabad. Except Chabad. Yeah.
All the teachers in Jerusalem they have.
Yeah, they're Polish here. Gadish, yeah.
Except Chabad.
Yeah. Okay, so listen. So you know the custom. You know the shirayim.
Yes.
You saw it.
Why accept Chabad?
We don't do it. So I'm going to tell you the story. So these 2 Polish Abachim, they're coming from the Polish cultural background, so they saw an opportunity, because in Chabad they don't do the Shirayim thing, but now they happened to walk by, and the Rebbe Rashab had just eaten, but he left his leftovers on the windowsill. We're going to get Shirayim. It's not normally part of the Chabad experience, but they're going to have one. They're going to have Shirayim. And they snuck up by the window, and they're going to reach over and grab, and they thought, the Rebbe Rashab didn't see them because he was deeply immersed in his studies. As they're about to grab the food, the Rebbe Rashab said to them, Bachram, you should know that by others, I'm just going to tell you the Hebrew words, and then we're going to unpack it. The Shirayim is Mizakeh. By me, the Shirayim is Mechayev. Okay, let's unpack that. Mizakeh is Lashon Zchut, a merit. Mizakeh means it confers merit. So the Rebbe Rashab was saying, by others, if you eat the leftovers of the tzaddik, it confers merit. By me, not stopping you, I'm just warning you, terms and conditions, click, you accept. If you take my leftovers, you're free to do so. It's not mizakeh, it's mechayev. Mechayev means it obligates.
Oh.
It confers obligation. So I say it's not free to visit the Rebbe. It confers obligation. So when you talk about doing something Le'ilui Nishmas, what Le'ilui Nishmas? The Rebbe's going to want something. Not something unreasonable, but the Rebbe's going to want something. Now you probably have an inkling of the next big spiritual move you need to make, because we all know the next big move we need to make, because we're all sort of putting it off, right? This is, I'm not telling you have to, but this is the opportunity to say that thing that I'm kind of like on the fence because I don't know if I can do it. You want to do something Lili Nishmas, you want to do something to give a real elevation.
Think.
So make a commitment. And again, bli neder, without a vow, because it's important that it shouldn't be with a vow. But, that next big move, whatever it is. And it's different for everyone. It's different, everyone's at a different stage in their journey. But really, the point of Yechidus is it should be transformational. You should leave different than how you came in. And different means in a practical way, not just inspired. There has to be some practical difference, and that means practical observance, a mitzvah, a real mitzvah, not a feeling. I mean, the feeling's great, but like how you applying the feeling. There has to be some commitment to something more than what you're already doing. And it's an incredible opportunity to be aligned with it, where it won't feel like a struggle. It will feel natural, because you're standing in the presence of somebody who sees you as someone who can do it. I'll tell you a great Yechidus story. I won't tell you the whole story, just tell you the punchline. This 23-year-old kid from England was not a Lubavitcher, and the Lubavitchers convinced him to go into Yechidus with the Rebbe, and he had his 3 a.m. Yechidus, and he came out, he said, I was completely ill-prepared for this. The only thing I know about Yechidus is what the Lubavitchers told me, and they completely, they didn't prepare me properly, because I went in thinking that I was going to meet a great man. And I left realizing that I had finally met my true self. I think that's, that really sums it up. So, it's a huge opportunity to align yourself with who you really are. To be more authentic, spiritually authentic. And yeah, you'll ask for blessings. But like I told you, the blessings, it's not like you're coming in like a selfish person, pressing buttons on a vending machine, just trying to get goodies. You're coming in ready to work. You're saying, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready, and if I'll see a sign that there's an important thing for me to do, I'm ready to earnestly consider that. Well then, in that case, it makes sense. You're also asking for blessings, and whatever it is that would just make your life easier, so you could focus on the reason your soul came to the world. Your soul came to the world to do some unique mission. And we believe that a Rebbe is in tune with whatever that unique mission is. By standing in front of a Rebbe, you become more in tune with your unique mission. That's the whole purpose. The whole purpose of it is to really come out aligned with your purpose, like what you need to be doing. And like I said, a lot of what you need to be doing, you already know, because that's human nature. We all know like that next thing that we're struggling with, that next big mitzvah that's like a challenge. Okay, so this might be the opportunity to do that. Yeah.
Why is it called Ohel when it's not covered?
I know, it's so weird. It's like the opposite.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I never saw a good answer.
And why they don't call it Tzilum? Or they call it.
They do also.
Also.
Yeah.
But why Ohel?
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw a good.
What is the originality?
Because it's temporary. That's the best explanation I saw. It's temporary. It's not a real. It's not supposed to be permanent, because Mashiach is coming, and there's going to be Tchias HaMesim.
For me, it's right away connecting with Avraham Avinu and mitzvah של הכנסת אורחים, because the oil, it's so simplicity, like our soul. It's not like a villa or a car. It's just so simple, and just a roof behind it, and you're all gathering together.
It's open around.
So there is so much
Yeah.
The words all held.
Yeah, the simplicity.
We should tell you a story of what happened to us when we passed the border. Everyone knows it.
What?
What?
We passed the border, and
You told the border?
Yeah, when we got
Told the
into
Border
one of
Patrol
the
that's where you're
states,
going?
Yeah. So he asked where we're going. We said we're going to the Rebbe. He's like, is that the rabbi or the guy that died 30 years ago?
Oh, he knew.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
Okay,
I'm
good.
like, yeah, we're going for like, a retreat or something. He's like, are you guys gonna stay in a tent?
You see?
So
That's
interesting.
Isn't that
amazing.
crazy?
That is crazy, in a good way crazy.
Yes, that tent. Doesn't we look like
That's
tents?
great.
Do us lady look like going to a tent?
But he actually,
It's a compliment.
It's like,
It's a
what?
compliment that he thought you were staying in a tent.
But oil is a tent.
And
Yeah, but I
I
didn't even know, right? I
Well,
didn't
the guy
know.
doesn't
He
know.
was also
But
upset
neither
that she
did
was
I, so
wearing a
when he
name
said
tag
he
that
wanted
didn't
a
match her
tent.
passport name.
Yeah, I had my name, and he's like, well, who's Vanessa? I'm like, me. He's like, well, why does it say Yael? I'm like, well, that's my Hebrew name.
You know
And
the
he
what?
almost pounced on
Yeah.
me, like, what do you mean?
You know that I took off my name.
Yeah, I didn't think.
We
And I'm
didn't
like,
think,
well,
but
Vanessa's
that's
retreat,
also
because we all had like the
in
badges,
Georgia.
so
Yeah,
you
so
calm
they
down.
Well,
It brings us in geometry
No,
to
it's not
36
for me. It's
oil.
Charlotte. I took it off.
It's like Lamed Vav. It's all the tzaddikim. Yeah, once it's go to 36.
Wow, that's so
I
interesting.
never heard that
What's it,
before.
what's it, what's it?
Yeah, my head will go.
Wow, good
What'd
guy.
you say?
She says her own Kiddush, a Gematria.
Mama?
For hell, the Gematria Lamed Vav.
Lamed Vav tzaddikim, 36, but also bring us to 9, which is a whole circle, finish and start. So when you think about it, Chaim ve'Mavet also starts because God, like Shalom Eda, when we do Rosh Shiva, it's mostly you do it in Ohel. It's also, but it all starts from the same beginning. I don't know what I said now if it comes. 36, yeah, Lamed Vav is Lamed Vav tzaddikim.
Pay her the royalties.
But what has to do with the Rebbe?
What?
No,
What has to
Lev.
do Lamed Vav with the Rebbe?
In every generation, there are 36
Yes, the
tzaddikim
hidden
that
one,
are.
yes, correct.
Yeah.
So?
She said, what does that have to do with the Rebbe?
He's one of them.
Well, I'll
It's
tell
not
you,
hidden.
somebody used to say that Rebbe is a hidden tzaddik. People said, what do you mean that Rebbe is a hidden tzaddik? The Rebbe is famous all over the whole world. He said, no. Whatever we think we know about the Rebbe, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. The Rebbe is really hidden. What the Rebbe really is hidden. But I would say like this, that doesn't inspire me that much. What would inspire me is to say, you are like the tip of the iceberg. What you think you know about your potential is a fraction of what you're really capable of. And the Rebbe's whole job always was and continues to be trying to convince us to believe at least a little bit in what we're really capable of. And that's why the Rebbe always is getting people to do great things. Great things that people didn't think they could do. But the Rebbe was always, that was his whole job. It continues to be his job, is to get people to do great things. So whatever it is, everyone here knows that thing. And it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like something like you never kept Shabbos before, now you can keep Shabbos. Like, it doesn't have to be like a huge 180 turn in your life. It could be something that's relatively small, but real and consistent, and that you're really going to do it and you'll be serious about it.
2 years ago, I came here,
Hmm?
and it was not so much unusual. But 4 years ago, before, I came here, and I don't ask nothing. I don't massage. Nothing.
You came here 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You didn't
With
ask.
my kids,
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask nothing. I don't ask, just I pray for my kids, my husband,
Mhm.
me, and we change a little bit. And we see, now I understand.
You're saying
I understand.
after you came here, so
Yes.
over the years there was a lot of
Yeah.
growth. Yeah.
As every day a little bit, and every day a little bit,
Yeah.
and every day a little bit, and then came back.
Yeah.
Changed my life.
So you come, you don't ask for anything, but you still get. It's like if you don't ask for anything, you don't get anything.
Well, she
I
asked for
would
her
think.
kids, so she did ask.
Oh, okay.
For us.
It's up to you. You can ask or not ask.
I have to tell you something. When you go to a perfume store and you don't buy
Oh.
any perfume, you get out, you smell it. It's the same thing here.
You made that up? You just made that up? That's great. You hang out here, it's gonna have an effect. There's no way it won't affect you. That's right. That's right. That's
I
great.
even went down to Baal Shem Tov. And Levi Yitzchak Bardashov, and Nachman, and Natan. Lag BaOmer.
Here you didn't even have to
The
fly.
sun.
Here you didn't have to fly.
No, but with Rob, it was like flying. No, I have to tell you, 3 hours in the border, and we driving.
It would have been easier to go to Ukraine.
I thought they moved. New York, south.
Each time we got closer, Trump moved New York.
Never happened.
So where is this New York?
Should have gone to Oman again. Yeah.
Once this
But you're here.
But
You made it.
and I didn't understand, and I don't believe that I see Rabbi Taub here from the magazine, and I identified him. He was a writer in one of the magazines.
Okay, ladies,
Yeah.
you're tired. What time are you getting up tomorrow?
Charlotte, you're holding the
Did you
schedule.
change the
What time?
itinerary?
We're not changing tomorrow's
Today
itinerary.
was-
No.
Okay, so tomorrow
Today had a
morning,
life of its own.
7:30 Modéani, Boker Tov. 8 o'clock morning prayer. 8:30 learning at the Ohel tent, which is a walking distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Down the block.
Mama's down the block.
No, we are
minute
Monday.
walk. It's a minute walk.
We're talking about Monday.
I know.
Monday, yeah.
Monday's
Yes.
tomorrow.
Sunday night.
6:30, so.
And then we have at the Ohel at 9. And at 10:30 we have leave to Crown Heights. When are we having breakfast?
So that's an interesting
Should we
question.
talk about it?
We should talk about
Okay,
it.
so remember I mentioned before that when the Rebbe
Oh,
was
we
getting
fast.
older, they were telling the Rebbe to stop going to the oil because he would fast. Okay, so I didn't know you were doing it the real authentic way. All right, so
We're suggesting.
okay, we're suggesting, and everyone can do.
The food is there. It will not be
Right.
put out, but it will be
Everyone
available.
can do what they need to do, obviously. The custom is that we don't eat. We drink, but we don't eat before going into the aisle. So you want to get up and have a coffee, by all means have a coffee. You can put sugar and milk in it, but we eat after we come out of the aisle.
So it means like 9:30?
You'll do a brunch. You'll do a brunch.
Oh, until 11:30. Okay,
A little
I
brunch
can
after
hold
you
on,
come
it's
out.
fine.
Okay. Ladies, it's been a pleasure. It's been an
Oh, yeah.
honor.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for
Thank
letting me
you.
be part of your experience.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
And I want to hear the Nachas reports, not from a day after you get back. I want to hear a month or two after, when it's really, when you're settled in and it's like you see the difference. I would love to hear the report. So let me know about transformations.
In Yirtzeh
Okay.
Hashem, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, good night.
Thank you.
Good night.